Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, December 11th for the Board of Control. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Good morning. Calling the roll for the Monday, December 11th Board of Control meeting. It is 11:03. We have Councilwoman Meredith Turner.
Present.
We have Councilman Dale Miller.
Present.
We have James Boyle serving as an alternate for Purnell Jones.
Here.
We have Nicole English serving as an alternate for Mike Dever.
Here.
We have Mike Chambers serving as a fiscal officer, also as chairman.
Interim, here.
Catherine Gallagher serving as an alternate for Chris Ronayne.
Here.
And Paul Porter.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All righty, very nice. Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from December 4th. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Boyle. All in favor to approve the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. Is there any public comment?
No public comment.
Let's go to our first item, please.
First item, BC 2023-794, Department of Public Works submitting an amendment to a contract with Trimore Corporation for rehabilitation of aprons D1, D2, and D3 at Cuyahoga County Airport located at 26340 Curtis Wright Parkway, Richmond Heights, for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $6,300.
Nicole English with Public Works. This is a construction contract. It's the first increase, and it is related to an increase in pavement removed. So I think it was an additional 252 square yards that were required at $25 a yard. So that equals that $6,300.
Thank you, Ms. English. Are there any questions from the board on this item? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item's approved. Next item.
Next item is BC 2023-795, Department of Public Works recommending an award and enter into a master contract with various vendors as listed below, and the total amount not to exceed $49,999 for emergency plumbing services on an as-needed basis, effective upon contract signature of all parties for a period of 1 year.
Good morning, everyone. Tom Pavich, Public Works. This is an approval of a master contract with McPhillips and Mayor Plumbing. This is for emergency on-call as-needed plumbing services, specifically used by our sanitary division. We bid this out informally. These were the two vendors that provided a quote based on hourly rates and service truck use. So we're making the master contract award to both of them to give our sanitary crews an option. As far as emergency work, this is stuff that our sanitary crews cannot do. It could be replacing lateral lines that were accidentally hit, or if any of our crews get equipment stuck in any of the sewer lines, that we would call this vendor to come out and extract that. So it's as needed. We may never even need it. We used to have a contract like this in place years ago. Then we went, I think, 3 years without needing it. And then we've had 2 mission criticals this year, so we're getting this in place proactively.
Thank you, Tom. Are there questions from the board?
Yes. Why is mayor given 80% of the money?
We've historically used them in the past. We could move money around because it's a master contract. So if we have an emergency need, our teams in the field, they'll call and find out turnaround time. And they'll most likely go with the vendor that will respond the quickest to the fastest, because most likely these emergency repairs impact home residents. We could move money around. We may end up using McPhillips more, but based on historical spend, that's the breakout we internally came up with.
Are there additional questions on the item? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item's approved.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2023-796, Department of Public Works submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to Gilbane Building Company in the amount not to exceed $29,800 for the design build services for the Central Services Campus project, effective upon contract signature of all parties through March 31st, 2024, and recommending to enter into a contract with said RFP exemption.
Nicole English with Public Works. So this contract is, I did provide some answers to your questions. Sorry, they were late. I was out of town last week. But you should have those in really big font in front of you, on accident. But this is in response to the RFQ that went out for the design services. However, we are still negotiating the full design build contract. It's super complicated and just related to the insurance and finalizing costs because it has been on hold for a little while. So getting that together has taken us a little bit longer than we'd hoped. However, we're getting close to finalizing the program for the project through our criteria architect, and we do need Gilbane to offer some guidance through this next month and a half or so related to the project. So that's why we're presenting this small award, but it is in response to the RFQ that they replied to, and we would hope that the new full design build contract would come before council and be approved before March 31st. So I know that was a question as to what will we do after that time.
Thank you, Ms. English. Are there questions from the board?
Yes. Ms. English, do we anticipate Gilbane working just on the jail project, or are they also going to be the design builder for the Central Campus additional stuff?
Their current contract only contemplates design services for the correction center and the sheriff admin building. Not to say it couldn't be expanded, it would make sense if they're on site, but just not knowing the schedule or what is going to happen with the rest of the site at this time, we are not putting that into their contract to date.
Are there additional questions? Mr. Boyle?
So, Gilbane has already been selected as the design.
They've been selected through scoring, but not officially awarded through council yet.
Because of the recommend.
They are,
So this is kind of getting a jump on it.
exactly.
All right, and then dollar, I assume that this dollar amount that's being today is significantly less.
Of course.
All right, so we're just getting the ball rolling. On the questions, the BZA on the bottom of the first page here. That's in Garfield, right?
Correct.
Who's gonna present? I mean, we don't own the property yet, right?
Correct. So the owner of the current owner of the property with our assistance, because again, part of the question will be, what is the project and what's going forward? So the owner of the property can't speak to that necessarily.
Do they have specs or diagrams? I assume they do in front of them. What?
The same stuff that we've presented to council
Got it.
to date.
And Nicole, if I could add in about the pricing question that you asked, Mr. Boyle, we worked with the law department last week about whether to present this as an award on the RFQ or as an exemption. Because this pricing is based on a separate quote from the vendor just to provide this limited scope of services in order for us to get to a point where we can make that full award, that's why we're presenting this as an exemption and not an award on that RFQ.
Stepping back, thanks, Paul. On the BZA piece, though, so are the county folks going to be there as well as Deidron or whatever the corporation
Correct.
is? Okay.
Yeah, we need to. I mean, because they can't speak to what the project is. But it is in their, it's in the purchase and sale agreement that they are responsible for getting the zoning approved.
Are there any final questions on the item? Seeing none, I will make the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Boyle. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2023-797, Department of Public Works submitting an agreement with the City of Cleveland in the amount not to exceed $157,014.47 for bridge inspection services, commencing upon contract signature of all parties for a period of 1 year.
Nicole English with Public Works again. This is a contract that we do with Cleveland. It's actually work that we've been doing for years and years with them, but we've finalized it in a contract for the last 3 years. And we inspect a certain amount of their bridges based on what they need and what our folks can handle. And so this was a negotiated amount for this current year. And once the inspections are done, we will invoice them and they will just pay us a full amount.
Thank you, Ms. English. Are there any questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make the motion to approve. Is there a second? seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. The item is approved. Next item?
Next item is BC 2023-798, Department of Housing and Community Development, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to Lutheran Metropolitan Ministry in the amount not to exceed $375,000 for affordable housing and related support services for families leaving homelessness as a response to COVID-19 for the period October 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2024, and recommending to enter into a contract with said RFP exemption.
Sarah Parks Jackson, Department of Housing and Community Development. This is going to be a grant to Lutheran Metro for the acquisition and renovation of 3 homes for families leaving homelessness. Those 3 homes equal a total units of 5. There's 2 duplexes and 1 single. We're using our CDBG-CV dollars, which is CARES Act money that was awarded specifically to us because of our CDBG annual allocation. This is the 2nd award we're making to Lutheran for this purpose. Previously, we made an award of $735,278 for the same exact purpose, the acquisition and renovation of homes for families leaving homelessness.
Thank you, Sarah. Are there questions from the board on this item? Please.
What's the total cost of one of the homes? Maybe start with the duplex. Do you have that?
I don't have that, Councilwoman, but I can get that for you.
Thank you.
Are there any additional questions on this item? Seeing none, I will make the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. The item is approved.
Thank
Next
you.
item. Thanks.
Next item is BC 2023-799, Department of Information Technology, on behalf of Department of Health and Human Services, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to TEC Communications Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $151,200 for 5 Amazon Cloud call centers, licensing and technical support for customer service hotlines for the various agencies listed below for the period January 1, 2024 through December 31st, 2024, and recommending to enter into a contract with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Dennis Sullivan, Department of IT. As read into the record, TEC, this request for 1 year. On behalf of HHS, they have made statement that they are going out for an RFP for call center services in 2024, thus the 1 year. And also, there was a split out between the prior help desk cloud services contract between HHS and fiscal. So we have an RFP exemption, basically, Paul, on 2 levels, the new contract and for that purpose.
Thank you, Dennis. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Boyle. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2023-800, Department of Information Technology, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to Sterling Data Center, doing business as Blue Ridge Networks, in the amount not to exceed $336,000 for a lease of space located at 1255 Euclid Avenue, Cleveland, to house and maintain county-owned fiber and server racks for the period January 1, 2024 through December 31st, 2025, and recommending to enter into a contract in connection with said RFP exemption.
Dennis Sullivan again with Department of IT. For those that are aware, that address, the Sterling Building, is where the ISC, the old Information Services Center, used to be located. And Blue Ridge is the floor above. So when this building was put together in 2014, there was a location issue with the decision to build and establish a co-location down in Columbus in the State of Ohio Computer Center. So we have hardware there. We have racks and servers and different things in there. But more importantly, we have a lot of head-end fiber in there for internet that puts our whole Cuyahoga County network campus together. They call it the triangle that goes out to the old ME's office and comes back around to downtown and then out to us here downtown, Public Square, and then to your. The question was asked at one time about, why are we still there or whatever. We did a little bit of a dive, not a real deep dive, but a little bit of a dive about 4 or 5 years ago. Michael, you might remember this. It was millions of dollars just to consider leaving there, yet alone being established in another place. This location and decisions back long ago were involved back to the time when Adelphia Fiber went bankruptcy court and the county bought fiber like 10 cents on a dollar and established their own network. So it's a very involved location.
Okay.
It's basically our hub for all data storage for the county at this location. Also, disaster recovery existence down in Columbus.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. Are there questions from the board?
Yes.
Councilman, please.
So based on what you just said, would I be correct in assuming that you expect this arrangement to continue for the foreseeable future?
Myself personally, I know of no conversation to go anywhere else. That's just me, Dale.
So, given that that's the case, this seems like a relatively short contract for a lease of space, which I see typically for 5 years. Why is it
By their
only
design, our had contact with them for a number of years, a gentleman by the name of Kevin Goodman. And that's by their design due to variable costs that change all the time.
Okay.
Are there any additional questions on the item? Mr. Boyle, please.
Why, Dennis, it looks like they're all 2 years, right? Or no, it looks like they're 3 years, but the dollar amounts seem to vary. Am I missing it there? I mean, like, the Third Amendment was 2 years and it's
I can tell you that, Mr. Boyle, I can tell you that some of the amendments for additional features,
okay.
like the last one, the fifth one, that low amount, that's when the prosecutors took existence up there.
So it's
For
not
their
as-
backup purposes now, yeah. It's not apples to apples, any of the amendments. Some of the racks have been replaced, there's been server consolidation, there's a lot of variables.
Perfect. I assume there was a reason because the dollar amounts were different and that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Okay, seeing no further questions, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Paul Porter. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Next item.
Next item's BC 2023-801, Court of Common Pleas, Juvenile Court Division, recommending awards and enter into agreements with various municipalities listed below, and the total amount not to exceed $21,300 for community diversion program services for the period January 1, 2024 through December 31st, 2024.
Good morning, Sharon Allen, Juvenile Court. These are two more of the 30-plus community diversion programs that are intended to divert youth from the court using community-based programs throughout Cuyahoga County. The City of Parma is for the one-year contract is $14,400, and the City of Solon is $6,900. And these are funded through Health and Human Services.
Thank you, Sharon. Are there questions from the board? Councilman?
These are routine contracts. I move approval.
We've moved. Do we have a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2023-802, Court of Common Pleas, Juvenile Court Division, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in award recommendation to the Musketeer Association LLC in the amount not to exceed $45,000 for positive youth development services for court-referred youths ages 12 to 20 with high risk for recidivism for the period July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024, and recommending to enter into a contract in connection with said RFP exemption.
Thank you, Sharon Allen, Juvenile Court again. Musketeer Association, this is another one of the 20 RFP exemption contracts coming through. The primary goal of this program is to improve empathy and provide opportunity for restorative justice interventions. The vendor shall engage court-referred youth in the building of empathy and accountability for their actions. These programs were written into the Reclaim Grant.
Thank you, Sharon. Are there any questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make the motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item.
Next item, BC 2023-803, Sheriff's Department, submitting amendments to agreements with various municipalities and the board as listed below. For inmate housing services for various time periods, to extend the time periods as stated below, to change the per diem rates from $122.12 to $173 even, effective January 1st, 2024, and for additional revenue in the total estimated amount of $535,000.
Good morning, Chris Costin, Sheriff's Department. Yes, these are amendment to the currently agreements that we have with municipalities, changing the rates to $173 per day and extending some contracts to 2024 and some to 2025.
Okay, Chris, thank you. Are there questions from the board on this item? Mr. Boyle?
What is the city of Cleveland paying us?
To the best of my knowledge, $99 a day,
Significantly less than 173.
very much so.
Math. Okay, thank you.
Any additional comments or questions? Seeing none, I will make the motion to approve the item. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Boyle. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2023-804, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, recommending an award on RQ 13352 and enter into a purchase order with RigaQ Analytical Devices Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $42,820 for the purchase of one handheld Raymond chemical analyzer for the Lake County Hazmat team.
Good morning, Mary Beth Vaughn for Public Safety. And as Jennifer's read, this is for the Lake County Hazmat team who actually serves Lake, Geauga, and Ashtabula counties. This was competitively bid, and we are making a recommendation to award to the lowest cost compliant vendor. Both Ohio EMA and the project owner, Lake County, have approved this award.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Are there questions from the board?
Are they just waiting for our approval? We're the final one?
That is correct.
Well,
Any additional questions? Okay,
I'll move passage.
we have moved for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Nicole English. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item.
Next item, BC 2023-805, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Children and Family Services, recommending an award and enter into an agreement with the Court of Common Pleas, Juvenile Court Division, and in the amount not to exceed $44,000 for psychological evaluation services for the period January 1, 2024 through December 31st, 2025.
Good morning, Marcos Cortez with Health and Human Services on behalf of Children and Family Services. DCFS will make referrals to the court's diagnostic clinic. The clinic will triage those referrals and determine if it meets the criteria to be seen in the clinic. If it does, then they will provide a comprehensive psychological evaluation. If it does not, then it will be sent back to the DCFS Supportive Services Unit.
Okay, thank you, Marcos. Are there any questions from the board? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item is BC 2023-806, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Family and Children First Council, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to Values in Action Foundation in the amount not to exceed $140,000 for workforce training services for youth for the period January 1, 2024 through December 31st, 2025, and recommending to enter into a contract in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Kathleen Stewart from Family and Children First Council. This is our youth development workforce program with Values in Action. We are in 10 schools throughout Cuyahoga County. They do soft training skills with the youth who are going to participate in the program. They do an internship, they do interview skills, just whatever soft skills training youth would need in order to be gainfully employed throughout Cuyahoga County.
Thank you, Catherine. Are there questions from the board?
Yes. Why was this done as an exemption rather than being competitively bid? And do we have plans to competitively bid this contract in the future?
So this contract was initially assigned to our office through County Council sponsored item about 4 years. This is going on the 4th year. So we've continued to do the RFP exemption because of that.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Next item.
Next item, BC 2023-807, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Homeless Services, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to Radical Hospitality in the amount not to exceed $25,000 for operating support of seasonal shelter services for the period December 1st, 2023 through May 30th, 2024, and recommending to enter into a purchase order in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, David Merriman, on behalf of the Office of Homeless Services. Here today to present item 807, 808, and then 80810. These are all in response to the county's participation addressing seasonal shelter. The cold weather plan that was developed by the community presented opportunities for the county to fund elements of the seasonal shelter, the first of which is 807. The county executive's office has worked with county council to develop a response to the cold weather plan. The first item is a direct contract with Radical Hospitality in the amount of $25,000. These dollars will be used to support Radical Hospitality to open a warming center and to provide outreach as well as hospitality services to homeless men and women. Be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, David. Are there questions, Councilman?
Just a comment that in spite of our best efforts to improve our shelter system, that not everybody responds to it, and that we need a variety of options available during the cold winter months to provide ways of getting people off the streets at least overnights, and so this and the other two contracts support that effort, and I think it is going to support health and welfare and save lives during the winter months, and I support the program.
Excellent. Okay, any final questions in this item? Mr. Boyle?
Just, David, I know how hard you and your staff have been working on this and how important it is as we move forward in the seasonal aspects that we're soon to find ourselves in. And I echo Councilman Miller's comments. I mean, it's an unfortunate situation that the realities of what we deal with and what you deal with every day. So I share Councilman Miller's comments about this.
Very good.
Thank you.
Seeing no further comments, I will make the motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item?
Before going forward, we need to correct BC 2023-803. The estimated total amount should not be $535,000. It should be $545,000.
545,000, okay. With that being said, are there any questions from the board on this particular one? I will make a motion then to approve the item as amended for the new amount of $545,000. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The item is approved as amended.
The next item is BC 2023-808, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Homeless Services, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to the Metanoia Project in the amount not to exceed $25,000 for operating support for shelter and hospitality services for shelter-resistant persons during the 23-24 winter season, and recommending to enter into a purchase order in connection with said RFP exemption.
David Merriman, Department of Health and Human Services, here on behalf of the Office of Homeless Services. And as stated in the previous item, this is part 2 of a contract a response to the cold weather plan. There's a network of providers that are coming together to open these hospitality centers, as well as to provide outreach to the community. And this contract will be used to support a different warming center. I'd be happy to answer questions.
Are there any questions on this one from the board? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2023-809, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Reentry, submitting an amendment to a contract with Oriana House Incorporated for administration and operation of the Neighborhood Reentry Resource Center and the Adult Transition Model for the period July 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2024, to expand the scope of services effective upon contract signature of all parties, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $100,000.
Marcos Cortez on behalf of the Office of Reentry. One of the main barriers that formerly incarcerated and justice-impacted individuals are facing is access to safe and suitable housing. To address this barrier and issue, Oriana House, in collaboration with the Office of Reentry, will utilize the direct cash transfer model to funds to assist those formerly incarcerated individuals to secure housing, pay down delinquent utility bills such as water and sewer, and gas and electric.
Thank you, Marcos. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2023-810, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Reentry, submitting an amendment to a grant agreement via contract with Northeast Ohio Coalition for the Homeless for street outreach services for individuals experiencing unsheltered homelessness throughout Cuyahoga County for the period March 23rd, 2023 through March 22nd, 2024, to extend the time period for 1 year, to change the scope of services effective upon contract signature of all parties, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $99,900.
David Merriman here on behalf of the Office of Reentry, and I am joined by Simeon Best to present this item. I'd like to just start by recognizing this is the third contract related to our response to the cold weather plan. And this contract is also a response to the Office of Reentry's release of the Housing Justice Plan. What we're doing today with this contract is utilizing a homeless resource, NEOC, in this case, Northeast Ohio Coalition of the Homeless, to do increased outreach to individuals that are experiencing unsheltered housing or unsheltered homelessness, and using NEOC's staff and their resources to increase awareness of the various homeless service resources that are available in our community. And I just want to acknowledge the Office of Reentry's increased utilization of existing services to better meet the needs of the unsheltered reentering community. Simeon, anything you'd like to add?
We were just here to make sure we support individuals. Simeon Best, Office of Reentry. So make sure that we support with our funding individuals who are experiencing this homelessness. And so just in support of everything he said, we're making sure we do that.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Next item is BC 2023-811, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Reentry, submitting an agreement with the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction in the amount not to exceed $200,000 for support services to assist formerly incarcerated individuals, effective upon contract signature of all parties through December 31st, 2024.
Good morning again, Marcos Cortez on behalf of the Office of Reentry. The ODRC and the Department of Reentry are piloting a program to identify those individuals being released from various correctional facilities that will be returning to Cuyahoga County. Exit interviews will be conducted, and when a person is identified who will be returning to Cuyahoga County, ODRC will provide support around them in 7 different categories, from housing, workforce development, assessments and treatments, transportation, legal fees and documentation, technology needs, and programming. Again, we have Simeon Best here who can answer any more specific program-related questions.
Thank you, Marcos. Are there any questions from the board on this item? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to exemptions.
Our first exemption is BC 2023-812, Court of Common Pleas, Juvenile Court Division, recommending an alternative procurement process to allow weekly and monthly repetitive food purchases in the amount not to exceed $1,800,000 for the period January 1, 2024 through December 31st, 2025.
Hi, Priscilla Bottomley with Juvenile Court. Due to the ongoing market conditions and supply chain, we're just requesting to continue with the alternative procurement, which would allow weekly and monthly repetitive food purchases.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any questions from the board? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item's approved. Next item.
Next item is BC 2023-813, Sheriff's Department requesting an alternative procurement process, which will result in award recommendations to various providers as listed below, in the total amount not to exceed $20,000 for emergency and routine veterinarian services for the K-9 unit for the period January 1, 2024 through December 31st, 2024.
Good morning, Chris Costin again, Sheriff's Department. It is an alternative procurement process for our law enforcement K-9 units to have medical areas in place for services when needed.
Thank you, Chris. Are there questions from the board? Please, Councilwoman.
I have an interesting question.
Yes.
Do you budget for their nails and hair?
That's under the routine, yes.
Under routine?
Yes.
Okay.
That would cover under these contracts.
Okay, I'm asking for Sunny Simon.
Do we have any additional items or questions? Sorry. Seeing none, I will make the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Moving on.
Moving to the consent agenda items, which are BC 2023-814 through BC 2023-818. Please note that BC 2023-814, the funding source is being corrected to read general fund only, and BC 2023-815 is being corrected to read Department of Public Works submitting an amendment to a contract with Project Management Consultants, LLC.
Okay, board members, we have a couple small changes. Are there any questions on any of the items on today's consent agenda?
Yes, I have one, and my
Please.
question is, what do we see as our relationship with project management consultants going forward?
Nicole English with Public Works. So we intend that they will continue to be the owner's rep through the end of the construction of the Correction Center project. They are not currently involved anymore on the Justice Center courthouse discussion, but they are staying on as the owner's rep.
Okay, fine, thank you.
Any additional questions?
Wait, on 814, there, what's left in the current contract? Did I miss that?
Yeah, it's on second page here of the big font document, 400,000 about approximately.
All right.
And so that's all related to courts planning, that the amendment was approved last year.
And then on 815,
There's approximately 200,000 left. However, we do have outstanding invoices that'll use most of that. We are planning to do an amendment that would go hand in hand with kind of the Gilbane contract, because until we have the Gilbane contract, we don't have a need for more money on PMC, but once we get started with that, we'll need it.
So we're using PMS, Project Management Services, strictly for the for
Correct.
well,
Yeah,
campus,
yeah,
whatever,
yep,
okay.
exactly.
And the Justice Center Complex project, which is 814.
Yes,
Do we have an owner's?
we do not yet, because we don't have a project yet, right? So until we know what the project is, because that'll help us determine who's best to do that type of work, you know, whether it's rehab,
And
rebuild.
presumably there would be RFQs, RFPs, whatever, issued once we get to that point in time.
Correct. Which is how we selected PMC in the beginning too.
Councilman?
Yes, so one more question. How likely is it that project management consultants might be expanded in their role to include other projects related to the central campus?
I mean, I guess I'd say if they happen at the same time, similar to my answer to the Gilbane contract, I mean, it's not contemplated right now, but if it all happens as one, it would make sense instead of having two people manage one contractor. But until we get to that point, we're really focused on at least working through the program of the correction center at this point.
Thank you.
Seeing no further comments, I will make a motion to approve today's consent agenda items as amended for BC 2023-814 and 815, and all the rest that's written there. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Paul Porter. All in favor to approve, say aye.
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 Opposed? Today's consent agenda items as amended and so on is approved. Is there any other business?
No other business.
Any public comment?
No.
I have a question.
Councilman, please.
Is it confirmed that we're not meeting the 2 holiday weeks?
I did want to add a quick note about that. So as we've discussed, we're not going to meet the week between Christmas and New Year's. So our last meeting this year will be December 18th, next Monday. We will meet January 2nd, though, which would be the first business day of the new year, if you will.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Scrooge there. All right. I will make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Seconded by Ms. Nicole English. All in favor to adjourn, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.